I think visiting hackathons, you can meet also some investors or some angels or advisors or those investors, and they can actually help you by asking those questions.
Yes.
They already help you. So yeah, if you will start talking with all of them, you will kind of get more insights how they think and how you should think about your project, about building, about making your company, making it sustainable. Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today, and welcome to the NFT Port, which is the podcast that we delve into the journey to building Web3 project from zero to hero. And today we have an honor to welcome our special speaker, Anton from Oneinch, and he's the co-founder. And I would like to invite our special guest to share his journey with our community from the beginning and until how Oneinch grow big like this today. So, hi Anton, could you please guide us about your journey with Web3 from the beginning, please?
Hi Queen, thank you for having me, and thank you for question. Yeah, I'm glad to describe how this all started for me. I actually have experience of more than 20 years of being a software engineer, and 7 years ago I discovered that blockchains are capable to execute programs. And I was curious in what can be written as a program. And I started my journey in Web3 and DeFi from writing smart contracts in 2017. And I found it pretty exciting. I saw a lot of possibilities to build a lot of things, because in 2017, almost nothing was built. And there was no Uniswap, there were no AMMs, there were no any other software which exists now, which people use, no money markets. Yeah, only few projects were there, and they were pretty small, and it was easy to understand what exactly they're doing, and it was easy to build something own which can exceed something what was existing. And this is probably what I was looking for in the software engineering industry, because when you work in system engineering and other things, you see that a lot of things are already implemented, and you don't know what you can actually contribute to world.
Yes.
But yeah, I found this industry interesting on pretty early stage, and yeah, I spent 7 years building and writing smart contracts, and still my main area of expertise.
So you are the smart contract expert.
Yeah. Yes. Now I call it protocol engineering, because it's actually a protocol. Whenever you write smart contract, you define how different participants will interact with each other over some program which is being executed in safe and reliable environment, and the developer and deployer of this program can't affect how it could be and should be executed anymore. Whenever you deploy it, if it doesn't have any upgradability or admin key, you will not be able to affect how exactly it works. That's amazing. That this allows to eliminate trust among parties. This sometimes allows to replace middlemen. Sometimes it can just enhance interactions for different participants for different matter. Now people do protocols for exchanging assets like DEXs. They do money markets. They do different insurance protocol, derivatives protocol, and a lot of different varieties of economical interaction can be built. And a lot of them are built, but I think we will see much more of them being built in coming 5-10 years.
So you see how DeFi also changing the world in the next 5 and 10 years?
Yeah. Every financial system in every country, it's kind of local. Whenever you try to work with multiple of them and transfer values or assets across borders, it's super slow, super inefficient with high fees. But this DeFi thing is something which works globally. It's very efficient. It's much more efficient than traditional finance system on cross-border operations. I think this is a system which can help to connect traditional finance local systems with each other.
So you started to be Oneinch. This also led to have people, number one, that transfer also like money and exchange with crypto with the low fee, and also like globally. That time you also can have people can compare the price.
We spent whole 2019 a year with my co-founder. So yes, we spent it visiting different hackathons around the globe. We found that idea of participating in those hackathons, meeting with all those great people, and having fun, having like freedom to build anything what was possible is highly inspiring. We visited probably 15 or more hackathons in 1 year.
Wow.
And on one of them, we came up to a deal to build Aggregator because we came from original issue. We saw that there were like, at this moment, it was 2019, May. There was like 3 major lexes. It was Uniswap, Kyber, and Banker.
Yes.
And we saw that you can open all those three websites, and whenever you want to swap like $100 of some token, you can see 3 different prices. They're a little bit different, but if you would check all 3 websites, you could probably get a few bucks more, like $3-5 more on one of them. And it was strange, like, oh, all those DEXs are actually all available permissionlessly, and we have so high price difference for probably no reason, and we could probably try to eliminate it. And we came up to idea that all those protocols, they can be accessed via any DF. Those DFs or those 3 websites, they don't have any exclusive access to those services. And we came up that we can build own website which can give access to all 3 services. And we can build own smart contract, which can help us to access all those 3 protocols inside single transaction simultaneously. The very basic idea of Oneinch was that the more you swap on each protocol, the less worse is exchange rate. That's how every market works. You first get better rate, and the more you swap, the rate is worse. And the idea was that if you would split your user volume among the different DEXs, you would have better rate. So the very first version of Oneinch was about finding the best distribution among multiple DEXs to find the best possible rate.
That's super cool idea. And also like Vietnam community, a lot of trader, and then they also like use Oneinch a lot because of the fee also low, and they also can compare all different decks at the same time.
Later, after like half year, 1 year, we came up to much more advanced algorithm, which is actually it's about routing your values among different assets, among different pools, different protocols. Nowadays, Oneinch takes into account tens of thousands of smart contracts, and it's like hundreds of protocols. I think it's 200 protocols on mainnet and hundreds of protocols on other chains. Some of them basically forks with minor changes, but there are actually tens of protocols which are unique. Taking gas costs into account is also a very important point, because whenever your swap gets more difficult, it involves more protocols, more pools, your gas costs will rise. You should build the routing that way that if our routing algorithm, we call it Oneinch Pathfinder, if it would offer you to build something like a complex route, it usually wins you more money than you would spend on gas costs. For example, on Ethereum, gas costs are relatively high. If you're swapping something, if Oneinch Pathfinder proposes you to spend $10 more on gas fees, this means that you are actually winning much more than $10 on exchange rate because of this. But it's also highly depends on the network, like layer 1 or layer 2, what are actual gas costs. If network have low gas costs like Polygon or BNB or Optimism or Arbitrum, they are pretty cheap. Gas costs are usually like less than cent or a few cents. It makes sense to have an interesting growth, even on small amounts, like hundreds or thousands of dollars. But for example, on Ethereum, you would likely spend few dollars on transaction costs, and it makes no sense to split your volume among somewhere. If you are swapping like $1,000, it would not split anywhere. It would end up with the cheapest protocol, something like Uniswap version 2 or something similar, or RFQ order, like limit order protocol baked by market maker. Yeah, if you would split like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands on Ethereum mainnet, it makes more sense to split and spend tens of bucks in gas costs.
So with Oneinch, within 1 year, based on the market size right now for DeFi, how much you have the trader save money for the fee, a year?
We can compute this, but it's not only about saving fee.
Yeah.
It's mostly for about optimizing exchange rate.
Yes.
And sometimes we offer users to spend more fees
Exactly.
to get much better exchange rate. We can actually compute something interesting, like how many fees were spent in total. Or we haven't done this, but we actually have one of the most amazing open dashboards with on-chain analytics. We use Dual Analytics, dual.com. We use it for many years. Since we discovered it, it was like a great source.
Yes.
It was like we can write open source queries and anyone can see our code dashboard. It's doom.com/oneinch.
Yes.
And everyone can see those queries and everyone can verify that we are counting it properly. And if someone will find a bug, it's also subject for bounty.
Yes, that's so cool. But how about the security? Because,
That's also an important question because some protocols in DeFi, whenever they are being compounded within other protocols, if you're building something like highly composable, like in DeFi Lego, it usually increases risks for users, but it's not about Oneinch. For users of Oneinch, it actually makes no sense which protocols are used under the hood. It's kind of interesting to see the chart of how your value goes through all these different protocols, but it actually doesn't matter if those protocols are safe or not. We integrate most of the protocols within like few days, and we don't care if they have security audits or if they are safe or not, because Oneinch have smart contract which can guarantee safety of users. How it happens, executes all the flow with all the swaps within all those protocols. At the end, it checks if final exchange rate is something what is desired by user or not. We have like minimal return amount, which is given by parameter. And if amount is exceeding it, that's enough, that's fine, we can finalize transaction successfully. But if amount is not enough, we understand this as user is not happy with the return amount, and we can revert all the swaps within the same transaction. That's what called atomic scenarios. This means that whenever one transaction is being executed in EVM blockchain, there's no any parallelism, there's no any other transaction happening in parallel. So we have possibility to revert whole transaction. At the end of the transaction, we can decide that we don't like it. Exchange rate was worse than the user expected, and we can revert everything. User will pay gas costs for failed transaction, but his assets will be returned to him and it will not be actually gotten from him. And to eliminate this risk, to not have inverted transactions, we also built Oneinch Fusion. This is something which helps users to not have these issues anymore. They can just give a digital signature of their intent to swap something, how much they want to spend and what they wish to get and how much. And then professional resolvers will manage everything for them. They can partially fill it multiple times for you, or they can fill fully. They can bring liquidity from other chains, from CEXs, from like everywhere. It's much more interesting than just aggregating on-chain liquidity on one chain.
So that's why the security also can secure.
This protocol provides its own security and it doesn't rely on security of other protocols. In the worst cases, if some of protocols is getting compromised, then probably liquidity providers can lose assets. And sometimes those who swap also lose assets if some DEX is high, but it's not when they use Oneinch, because the users are not exposed directly to those protocols. They use Oneinch smart contract, and Oneinch smart contract is using all those protocols. In the worst case, if something bad would happen, exchange rate will be not enough, and whole transaction will be reverted. In the worst case, it will be just reward for the user. If it's executes transaction on its own, if it's fusion, even this will not happen.
Because like recently also like other decks also like got hacked and they even are losing like 40-50 millions dollar. And that's why like, the committee, they're also really scared about the security that it's not secure enough. But for Oneinch, I believe that
one of the things regarding Oneinch, we have the most audited smart contract in DeFi. We have more than 10 audits for aggregation protocol. We actually have many different protocols for different purposes, but main one and the first one was aggregator protocol, aggregation, and it's the most audited smart contract because the only thing you can make to have ultimate safety, you can't have any guarantees. You can have security audit for sure, but they will not guarantee anything. The thing is how we can achieve ultimate safety for our users is to have as much audits as possible and to have as less code as possible, to have compact and easy to read and understand code and many audits. That's the only formula to be safe, actually.
So actually for our podcast also like want to share more about the journey of founding the project from the beginning, from zero to hero. And then as a founder, I also would like to ask you several questions about that journey, and especially with you, because you come from engineering, developer, you joined the hackathon, and you found Oneinch with your co-founder, Sergey. And I would like to ask, because like I think that your story will inspire a lot of many other developers all over the world. So can you share more about like back to 2019?
Sure. This time we were participating on hackathons around the globe. And our very first hackathon was in December of 2018. We visited Singapore, in Singapore. And this was probably the very first hackathon of Sergey. I participated in some hackathons which were not blockchain. I participated in one or two blockchain hackathons before this, but I recently participated as mobile engineer. I used to be iOS engineer before that, and system engineer, and cross-platform system engineer before that. We just liked the vibes on the hackathon, and there was like so many smart people to learn from. Give someone your advices, you can get advices from other people. It's like the greatest place to learn and build. Actually, I recommend everyone to visit hackathons because blockchain hackathons, they're really special, especially if global hackathons. They're much more interesting than you could imagine. And that's great source of inspiration also. Whenever you see like tens or hundreds of people are working during days and nights without any sleep.
No sleep at all. Like I see all people just build for 3 days. Continuously.
We somehow managed how to win some bounties, and it was enough to cover at least tickets and hotel. I don't know why we got hotel, because we were not sleeping. Hackathon.
Exactly.
We could probably save some money on hotels, but
I remember that year also like Kyber from Vietnam also like do the bounty reward in that hackathon.
On Singapore we won several bounties. Probably it was Kyber, and it was MakerDAO, and maybe someone else, but I'm not sure now. It was something related to like a basket portfolio, basket protocol to have basket like a ETF that on the blockchain and smart contracts. I'm not sure the name of the protocol, but we managed to find a way how to win. You would have to participate, and you would better participate and try to attend to multiple nominations from different companies. That's how you can win at least at some of them. You could probably win a few $100 or $1,000. And depending on the country, that's the way how you can cover tickets. I mean, tickets from Europe to Japan or Singapore cost much more than tickets from Europe to Europe, for example, for sure.
But I think that like the key thing for hackers to join the hackathon is number one, that they go there and they can talk and share the idea with many mentors and also like other developers and helping each other to validate the idea. I think that's the key. And also can receive the feedback, advice from the mentor. So it's really good.
They can also find some teammates.
Yes, exactly.
Future teammates.
Exactly. Even co-founder.
Yeah. The greatest idea about hackathons that you should try build something sustainable.
Exactly.
It's usually like smart contracts and some front end which can access those smart contracts.
Yeah.
And then the system will be kind of sustainable in its own. Some projects will launch it on hackathons. They're probably still functional.
Yes.
We're not using them, and we do not recommend anyone to use them with real money. It's like they're experimental and built with a few developers with a few full designs. So it's unsafe by design, you know. But we tried every time to build something like sustainable, like have an idea, okay, let's implement it, and for next hackathon we will pick up something new. And this is also something what works. It's still kind of serial building.
Yes.
If you will do serial building, after like 5-10 attempts, you will definitely build something which will get traction and will be useful. But yeah, I think this is quite popular thing on Twitter now. I saw some guys, they build like they build it for not non-crypto, but it's same approach. They build a lot of projects. I saw one guy built like 70 projects in 1 or 2 years, and he disclosed that 3 or 2 of them of 70 are actually earning him money. It's like thousands a month or 10,000 a month, something like that. But it's like similar approach. It's serial building.
But the thing is, I also see that because like we do hosting a lot of hackathons and then events, and I see that like it's good environment for the hackers. But the thing is, like a lot of them just come for the bounty, and they don't really, commit to that project or idea, and it's not sustainable. But Oneinch from the hackathon, and then you can build it like grow from 2019 until today, and it's grown very, very fast. So what is your challenges from the early stage, and how you also can overcome it and make it more sustainable?
Actually, our participation in hackathon with Oneinch was the least successful. We won only probably $200 from ENS. For including ENS name in the corner. When you connect your wallet, you can see your ENS name. We got bounty for this. In 2019, bounties were like that, but we somehow managed to not get any other bounty. It was the least successful participation ever. But we somehow saw the potential in this idea, and we continued building it right after hackathon. Like after like few nights of sleep, we returned to this idea and continue adding features.
But what really made you choose this idea over with other idea, even that you got higher bounty? How big the problem that you saw at that time?
I think initially when we started participating in hackathons, we started with looking at bounties, what bounties could offer, and then we tried to understand what we can build which could probably fit few bounties and what still can be interesting. I think on this hackathon we came probably from other side. We came up from an interesting idea, and I said there was an issue, the opening 3 websites together, and we tried to fit it in some bounties, but this was not successful. But this is not because we did it. I mean, someone else could be more successful pushing it. Maybe we did not succeed with presenting it, and maybe. We tried to explain what exactly we're doing like on the hackathon. I'm not sure if anyone understood correctly what exactly is happening and why price could be better if there are indexes with prices, and how we can offer something better than each of these indexes. Yeah, but
maybe through this you can explain to people.
Yeah, because we were explaining. Sergey was explaining this to different mentors. Like there are 3 dexes, they have 3 prices, but we can offer something better. And no one believed, like, why? Where you would get better price? And we were not capable to describe how exactly this thing is working. But we were understanding this between us, and that's why we understood that that's something cool, that's something what we still should continue working on.
Yes, that's so cool. And also, like, what is the meaning about Oneinch? A lot of people like wonder about the philosophy. Is it like Oneinch bomb, Oneinch punch,
Yeah.
Bruce Lee?
Yeah, it's about Bruce Lee's one-inch punch, and the idea behind one-inch punch that is something highly efficient,
Oh,
and because it's highly efficient punch of
Yes.
Bruce Lee, it puts a lot of energy in something small,
Yeah.
and yeah,
but consistently. And
yeah, and it's also because everything is happening inside one transaction.
Yes.
And initially, the name of the project was One-Inch Exchange.
Ah, okay.
This sounds like chicha.
Yeah,
One-Inch Exchange.
Yes.
But yeah, now it's 1-inch.
Oneinch.
Much shorter and easier to remember.
Yeah, that's cool name. So is there any philosophy that you apply from even your personal life to Oneinch culture and then make it less successful?
We applied different techniques which we came up to on our own. For example, I think the very first users of One-Inch were probably those who heard of it on Hackathon or heard of it in Twitter, because we became pretty active in Twitter. And we started also which we called meme marketing. We created some memes which
Yes.
got viral, and we put them on Twitter.
Yes.
And they were like really fun. I spent last 10 years checking out memes
Yes.
to understand what it is and how it works and what is fun, what is not fun. And eventually this became useful for us,
Why do you think that meme is useful for crypto, for Web3?
because memes can easily get viral. I mean, if someone see in Twitter something what is really funny, which is like really funny,
Yes.
you will like retweet and your followers will see it. And this is how memes can get viral, and they will also, if they are somehow related to a project, a lot of people will be aware of what it is. When we got our first trades on
Yes.
Oneinch, we just saw some transactions on Etherscan. I said, Sergey, there are transactions on Etherscan. We have like 5 transactions today. They said, wait, who is using it?
Yeah.
I don't know. And we did not knew who it was, but we continued pushing it on Twitter. We started to build it continuously, like working on it like almost every day. And we started to tweet about every feature, like we added cool button, we added new mode, we added new decks, we added some new functionality. And I think we got our first initial traction from crypto Twitter. Now it's probably crypto X.
Yeah. So basically the philosophy after it is just like warning punch, effective
Yeah.
every single day, and you push more.
Yeah,
more.
we have kind of culture and company of like hackathon people,
Yes.
people for hackers who build efficient things. And yeah, for sure, it's like 18-20 rule, when you can achieve 80% of result with 20% of effort. That's definitely what you should use on hackathons. And the rest, 20% of result, will take 80% of effort. That's actually a lot. And this is usually something like backend infrastructure and
Yes.
DevOps and all those things. I think we also have something useful for people who are on this stage after they have initial traction with their project or hackathon or something like that. They need to build it like fully featured with like backend balances, I don't know, like any other data from blockchain which can't be instructed from nowhere RPC. It's like something which will take like months to develop, weeks. And this is something what people now can have as APIs. We, for example, have Dev Portal.
Yes.
So developers can easily get like balances, prices of tokens, anything else within just few lines of code. And this is something what could save time and money for sure, because time and work is actually money for developers.
Yeah.
That's how they can get their solution, which can be like 100%, but much, much faster.
Yeah. So how many people in Oneinch team now?
Now it's around 150 people.
Wow, big team. That's big
Yeah.
in Web3.
I remember like the very first year we were only two guys who
Yes.
was working on Oneinch, and we were struggling with rising funds at the very first round. But yeah, I remember in like first 2 years we had around 30 people.
Yes.
By the way, the core team of Oneinch, these were guys, these are guys whom we met on those hackathons. Those are actually our
Wow. So hackathon's super useful.
this is friends, hackers from
Yeah.
Hackathon. At some point when we got our very first round, we realized it, and we understood that we can't handle it anymore with four hands.
Yes.
We need much more people. We need structure to handle on front end, on smart contracts, on back end, on DevOps. And we invited all our friends to join us. We said, this is something where we need your help. Let's build this thing together. It's gonna be huge. And yeah,
So the lesson for the other builder also, like, make the network during the hackathon and make the connection everywhere, so
Yeah,
you can form the team.
one of the hugest and the most important thing on a hackathon, except of building,
Yes.
sure, except of talking about ideas,
Yes.
is actually all network and all your contacts which you can make. You can meet great people. You can meet great people who are constantly visiting, those who are organizing them, those who are sponsoring those hackathons. And you can meet other hackers who can be your teammates on your project later.
So during the time that you building the team from 2 people to 150 people, what is the most challenging story and how you overcome it? Can you share the story?
You know, it was quite easy to grow from 2 to 20 people,
Exactly.
maybe to 30.
Yes.
It's like still the same vibes, but growing to 100 or 150 is much more difficult.
Yes.
It's much more business organizational stuff, and you need to find professionals who really understand how to do this, how to grow your company. It's like operations, even like even paying salary
Yes,
in
exactly.
this amount of people is a work of it's like full-time job actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wonder how companies of thousands of people exist. It's probably even more harder, or they need probably deeper structure.
Yes.
So yeah,
Also, like, regarding the product, I received many questions from the developer, the builder, because like they also can build from the idea, but also like how to have the product market fit, and also like, you know, adjust and fix it and grow it day by day and make it become like super good market fit product. So what is your experience on that?
yeah. I think finding the product market fit means that you should somehow reach your main auditor. So I think you should be somehow creative at this. You should understand who exactly and why they should use your product, because you know your product. You could come from one side and see like something like an obvious idea.
Yes.
But if you would look from different perspective, you could see other possibilities, how other people could see this. Even like, for example, if you're building something like an options system, like options DEX, when someone can sell options, someone can buy options from them,
Yes.
you can present it as options, and you will reach auditory who understand what is options. It's traders, basically, professional traders. But if you would build it differently, you will describe it to people that they can provide liquidity in some asset and they can get some yield, they will earn on it. But if price of this asset will reach something, they will automatically sell it. It's like you describe options, but you're describing it to people who are not aware what is options, and they don't want to know what is options. It's hard to educate people if they don't want. They, for example, could afraid what options because they heard that it's something strange.
Yeah.
But if you describe it as something simple, they can like it. They, okay, I can get like 5% annually for just holding Ether on this smart contract, and if price will move for like 10% in 1 month or something, I will automatically sell. Okay, that's probably fine. So yeah, it's about finding different ways to present your product to different auditories, but all of them will be your users actually. It's like having different front ends to the same service.
So how about the user experience for that?
I think you should follow something like idea. The best user experience is something what users don't see. It's like remove everything what is not necessary. You know, the perfect UX is not where you can't add something. Perfect UX is something where you can't remove.
And track.
There is nothing to remove because there is nothing there.
So how did Oneinch this remove the unnecessary things?
Yeah, initially we had
what are
only
they?
like two input fields, like you select token and amount, and output fields, like you select token and amount.
Yeah.
And there's only one button, like
Super easy to use.
yeah. Someone called this kayak interface because it was like left and right symmetrical, and I think there was like a ticket selling site, Kayak, who were the first who came up with this idea. I think we were always inspired by the best companies in terms of user experience. I think it's probably Apple.
Yeah.
Apple is the best in user experience, and it's not only about software interfaces. User experience is actually much more. This is all what you would experience when you will use product. But if we're talking about Web3 DeFi products, it's actually software services. Yeah. So yeah, I think developers should try to make it as simple as possible, too easy to understand and interact. If you would have like 10 input fields and 10 buttons, it will be much harder to understand what you should do. You would better have different interfaces for different categories of your users, with like 3 buttons for these users, 5 buttons for these users. This will be like much better.
So many people, they still see that like Web3, is still difficult to use. Even like for our parents' generation, they don't know how to do it. Maybe one day, we hope that this can easily use this, log in the email, transfer the money globally, this using the email or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like really much more difficult. I would say it's different.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's hard to get something new, what is different. They used to something, and they expect something from services like financial services, like a bank or something.
Yeah, but they don't know what is private key and, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Modern products like new wallets, new DApps, they can make everything a bit simpler.
Yeah.
But I think anyway, you should understand what is going on. I'm not sure that you can hide everything under the hood and it will be something good. Probably you should better explain it to people. But yeah, I think people will be ready at some point. They're like, we see that a huge amount of people are coming to Web3 and DeFi. And while some of the companies are trying to make their experience more looking like Web2, like more gasless or more something like Web2-like. I see that most of those Web3 people, fresh blood, fresh users, they're not actually struggling. They can get those ideas pretty easy. Okay, they like, okay, there's a private key. I should not share it with anyone. Okay, there's a transaction, gas fees. It's not much hard to understand, especially for younger generation.
Yeah, for younger generation,
it will be the same as any other technology. Mobile phones, they also, everything was like so difficult. It was so much different from writing letters or using your home phone. It's difficult, but we somehow managed to educate older generation to use it, and all started for sure with the younger generation because they are not used to old versions of everything. For example, there is a cool quote about your understanding of technologies. If something was invented until you were like 15, you consider this as a natural part of the world. This is, by the way, quote of Adam Douglas.
Yes.
What will be invented from your 15 to your 35 is something what you can consider is highly exciting, highly innovation, is super cool, and you can make career with it. And this is amazing technologies. But something what will be invented after you're 35, you will think this is something abnormal. You will not like it. So, but the thing is that all this thing is technological progress and inventions. The different thing is how you think about that. And yeah, your ages and it's not like numbers.
Yes.
It's actually could be different numbers for sure. It's for different people from different generations. And it could be different, but in general, you have considered them differently. And that's exactly related to this question: how people consider Web3 technologies.
Yes.
Those people who are like less than 20 years, 25, 15, they are easily picking up those new concepts.
Yeah.
And they think this is, okay, it's natural. They understand how private keys works. They understand how transactions have been signed and executed in blockchain. And it's like natural part of the world. They don't consider it as something new and hard to understand. But yeah, we somehow managed to educate our parents to use mobile phones, and we'll manage to make them to use Web3.
So what is the vision for Oneinch in the next 5 years? How do you see it?
I think in next 5-10 years, we will see expansion of Web3 and DeFi, and I expect that we will see much more new protocols. Within Oneinch, we improve existing protocols, and we also work on something what we call new protocols.
Yes. What does it mean, new protocol?
New protocols for different purposes, for new purposes. Like, for example, we are preparing now cross-chain protocol for all. It's very, in terms of safety of users, it's very similar to atomic swaps idea, which exists for more than 10 years probably. But yeah, it's with all new features like digital signature, regardless execution, resolvers, and all those things. Yeah, I mean, with Oneinch have not only aggregation thing, we have many protocols. We have limit order protocol, aggregation protocol, other protocols, and we will eventually come up to new protocols if we will think they make sense to be implemented. We have like a huge expertise of all those contributors, 150 people. They have a lot of ideas, and yeah, they are all creative. We should do something with all those creativity. So, yeah, I think we will build a lot of things in coming 5-10 years, and there will be a lot of things to use for new population of Web3.
Yeah, I also want to see, like, I'm curious, like, Oneinch, how it grow in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, that's it. I think whole industry will grow dramatically.
Yes, exactly. It's super fast, grows super fast now. And then also, like, another question also about the founder journey, before we move to the wrapping. So a lot of founders and builders, they can build product, but they want to understand how to raise fund.
This thing was really difficult for us because we are both with the co-founder are software engineers with huge experience, and we tried to raise our very first round for.
When you raised 12 million for the first round?
First round, yes, but it was almost 1 year we spent on this. We also found one guy who helped us with that. But what is like my final decision about raising funds, I think it's a matter of time.
Yes.
I mean, there are some periods in the market when investors invest much more than other time, like on beginning of bull run or something like that. Investors, they found ways to invest and they're much more active than on bear market, for example. And you should try to rise and be prepared until some moment will appear, and you will feel it. That I think we made more than 100 pitches to investors.
Wow.
And at some point we saw that, for example, what happened, DeFi summer started in 2020. The project was started in May of 2019. For the half of the year we was working on it without trying to raise any funds. It was like pet project. And when we saw that few millions are getting swapped within 1 month, we said, okay, this is getting bigger and we should do something. We should make a company, we should raise funds. And we spent half a year trying to raise funds, and our first 100 calls with investors were pretty wild. It was very energy consuming. It was hard. We were explaining how it would work, what is the business model, and everything. Investors have different questions, but actually all these questions will be useful for you. When you answer those questions, you get better understanding on what exactly you're working on, what is your plan, what is your actual plan. You can build a plan, you will see, write something, but it's not actual plan. After you will be asked 100 different questions on 100 different calls, or much more questions probably, you will have, after you give those answers, after you think on all those questions, that means you have a plan.
Actually, through the question, you can reflect and you can have the plan, the strategy, even for your own product and your
Most
project.
of those questions are right questions for you to ask yourself, but they can be asked by investors. Raising funds is not easy, especially if you are doing this first time and don't have experience in business development. If you're a software engineer, for example. But that's definitely possible, and it depends on the market conditions.
But for Oneinch also have investment for many like tier 1 VC. And not easy for many different, founders to approach the tier 1. So what's your advice to them?
I think visiting hackathons, you can meet also some investors or some angels or advisors of those investors. And they can actually help you by asking those questions. They already helping you. So if you will start talking with all of them, you will kind of get more insights how they think and how you should think about your project, about building, about making your company, making it sustainable. That's a great plan. Start with hackathons, visit few of them, and build projects.
You have a really successful story, inspiring, other developers from the hackathon journey. So I believe that it will be super, super helpful. And then what is your advice for the other builder, other founders in Web3?
I think serial building is something which actually works. And actually communication and having great contacts, having great time.
Build a network.
Building your network is really important. This is not something abstract like building a network. This is actually your connection to other people. You getting to know some people, they're getting to know you. On each new hackathon, you will recognize, you will see same people are visiting in same hackers, same sponsors, same investors, same other people, and the relations with all those people are important.
Yes, that's great. So we also want to know more about you, like maybe something not related to this like more personal, like this. For example, what is your habit to boost for the Brazilian during the startup journey? It's a lot of difficulty. What is your habit to make you more resilient?
I'm not sure. I have one more advice for those guys who participate in hackathons, and they try not to fall asleep.
How to not fall asleep?
There is a life hack. Actually, if you are feeling dizzy, you should eat probably some marmalade.
Marmalade? What is that?
Jelly bears.
Okay, yeah.
It's actually sugar, but it helps you not to fall asleep.
Okay.
So surprisingly, I came up with experimentally.
Oh, cool. So sugar make more awake.
Yeah.
And then more
but I
strength.
think sport is also important.
Yes.
I mean, if you do sport, I think it will help not only with health, but also with brain activity.
Do you do any sport? Besides on...
Yeah, I do some sport, but it's casual pull-ups.
Okay, so you just do like hit, push-up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, pull-ups on one hand.
Oh, wow.
It was possible 10 years ago.
I wish that you can do a show that. And also like how you can balance your personal life and also like building like, you know, the Web3 project super busy and with 150 staff. And also like I see like your son travel with you. What is your secret?
Yeah, my son is finally turned 9, and I'm able to bring him to different conferences. I think it's something interesting for him to remember for his life.
Yes.
I'm not sure if like 5 years old kids will remember anything when they will get older, but 9 years is something what you will remember. And yeah, managing personal life and work and business is difficult. It's extremely difficult, and I'm still learning. Whenever I will have something to share, I will share. It's super hard. It's much harder than you could imagine.
But I see like the bonding between you and your son traveling here in the conference, and I think it's super beautiful because, like, you know, for the fatherhood, and you spend time with the boy, even that like this, you know, bring him to a conference to let him see what you're doing, your work, and also like he can observe it and then have the quality time with each other. So I think it's also a great way.
This way, kids, me with my kid, we can be in different countries, see different cultures, especially visiting hackathons, blockchain hackathons. We can meet a lot of great people. And talking to these great people is something what kids can be inspired of. They can remember it, and this is something unique.
So that's how you train your son become the future DeFi boy.
Well, DeFi kid.
DeFi kid. So thank you so much for your time today. I really, really enjoyed the conversation, and I learned a lot from you. And hopefully your story also can inspire a lot of other developers and users over there. And then hopefully that can, you know, help they got the inspiration to build a lot of more sustainable and successful project like you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Hopefully this will inspire new wave developers and builders.
Yes, thank you, Anton.